And hello and welcome everyone to the Comic Multiverse, where the worlds of nerd meet. I am your host, Joel, and Matt and I both agreed we forgot it was Sunday before we came to record.
We did. I've had a weird week where, there was, a day during the week where, I had, a really bad headache and, kind of slept for a lot of the day. So it kind of, threw me out of, my usual schedule. So I'm like, oh, today is only Saturday. I've got another day to do comic group. And it's like, oh, it's actually Monday for me, which is Sunday for Joel.
Yeah, I'm all messed up too because I had a messed up week previously. Again, I mentioned I spent all of last week Thursday at the hospital. I'm better now. Everything is fine now. But then I really screwed myself because it was AEW All Out last night. So, I just watched 3 hours of wrestling. So, it was a whole big deal. And you know what I think got me too? It was after D23, we had such just a newsgasm of everything at once where it's like, oh, well, now we don't need to do the show for a while because nothing new has happened.
Yeah, lots of news from last week. But yeah, this week, not really anything. We got a lot of comics to talk about, but yeah, not a lot of news.
What was your number for books this week? I counted 17.
I'm still going through them. I don't bother counting them because then I'll just end up in a corner crying.
Yeah, I had so many, I'm like, 17, goddamn. And I did what I never did before, is that I arranged them almost in backwards order, where it's like, okay, ones that I normally always cover, you get moved here, all the big new number ones and events get moved up, so Superman, Detective Comics, haven't touched them this week.
Yeah, I have them arranged in publisher order, so a Marvel, DC, and then Star Wars gets its own sort of little thing, which is just building up.
It was such a weird moment too, because it's like, oh, we have Action Comics and Superman.
Yeah, that was so fucking weird, eh? And they were both really shit.
Yeah, I haven't read them yet, but from what I understand, I looked at both of them, breezed through them, and I'm like, these look horrible. Can I just quit?
We'll get to them.
Okay, you'll need to tell me, because I looked at both of these, and I'm like, it's hard enough getting through one of you a month. I might just quit reading Superman now. This might be the thing that breaks me. Because it's like, here's the thing. I've thought before, I'm like, wow, I'm really not enjoying Action Comics or Superman, but I can't get rid of them, because if I do, then I'll barely be reading any DC comics at all, and the channel will be full Marvel.
That's the thing, yeah. I think we talked about this maybe last week. I'm picking up more Marvel books, and that's just because of things tying into things. Whereas it's come to a point where some weeks I'll have more Marvel than DC.
Oh, I've had more Marvel than DC for a while, and just general quality too, and shit I'm interested in. I was looking at what DC's putting out right now, and I'm like, no, not interested in that. Don't like that writer. That guy hates me. Nope, not gonna read that. Not gonna read any of this. And I want to expand it to where it's like, okay, well, realistically, if I did drop Superman, should I pick up Wonder Woman because I like G. Willow Wilson? I'd have to catch up on everything. Oh, Batgirl, they tell me, is good, but is this Batgirl run good, or was it the one before that was good and I've forgotten? Because again, they can't keep consistent teams on many of these books, and that's another big problem.
Yeah.
But, yeah, believe it or not, everyone, we actually do have some news stories this week. Obviously, it's not going to be as big as last week, but hey, such is the case.
Yeah.
First story here, and this one was surprising. This broke not long before we went live. The director of the It movie, Andy Mushinchi. Again, he's got a really funny-looking last name there. I wouldn't even know how to pronounce that. The dude who did It, those new It movies there, he's been named as the new Flash movie director. Another in a very, very long line of Flash movie directors.
Yeah, how long will he stay on there? He says it's his next movie, but I think Rick Famuyiwa, that was his next movie, and then he left after that. So is he going to leave? Although in saying that, WB kind of want to keep the guy happy because he's made them money.
A lot of money on a franchise that they thought was dead. So yeah, good point. Also too, they're like, hey, we gave the Aquaman to a cheap horror movie guy and it made a lot of money, so let's just keep giving them to cheap horror movie guys.
That seems to be the thing. They'll tap all of their horror directors. So the guy who did Shazam, David Sandberg, obviously Aquaman with James Wan, and now Andy. They're all tapping they're guys that built that Conjuring universe to do this. It's you guys seem to be doing something right. Come fix this universe.
Which, hey, good for them. Yeah, like they said,
Seems
hey,
to be
you guys
working.
actually... yeah, you guys make this work. Come work for us now. And also, too, whenever I see something like that, I always think to myself, like, yes, the Sam Raimi trajectory in Hollywood. You get famous by making a bunch of low-budget but really beloved horror movies. Then you transition into doing really big, action pictures for studios. Sometimes superhero movies.
Yeah. But yeah, it seems to be working. I'd be interested to see what he's doing. I just hope that, like, they tell Ezra Miller to act like Flash and, like, maybe get him, like, a runner trainer or something, teach him how to run.
Yeah. Maybe get motivated. It's funny, too, he was sure to say in the press, like, oh, I promise this new Flash movie won't be a horror movie. And I'm like, yeah, it doesn't have to be a horror movie because the production around it is already a horror movie. It's really akin to a slasher movie because it's claimed the lives of, like, 5 or 6 other directors before you. But I'm sure you could make it work.
Yeah, and I'm also surprised, like, they never mentioned anything about that thing where, like, Miller and, like, Grant Morrison were, like, writing a script. Yeah, so I'm guessing that's not happening.
Yeah, what the fuck was up with that? That was the weirdest story. It's like, oh, and Ezra Miller has recruited Grant Morrison to work on the script. And I'm like, but you're the actor. You were hired to act. Not sure. Is that how fucked up it is over there? Where it's like, oh, geez, the star is writing the script. The first AD is making macaroni for catering.
Yeah, it was so weird. They didn't mention anything about this, so I'm just going to say that, like, maybe that's not happening now. Maybe they're just going with, maybe Andy's got a script or something coming up.
Possibly. Again, I still hold firm to our theory from before that the only reason Ezra Miller agreed to write the script is like, okay, if I write one of these, then they can't tap me for another one of those Harry Potter movies.
Yeah. Wasn't that also a thing where, like, he was tied up in the third one of that, like the scheduling and stuff? So, like, maybe this Flash movie won't even start until, like, sometime at the end of next year or something, which could be good. Gives them time to, like, hash out the script a little bit more.
It's true. Again, I've always said that Flash should be the easiest, and yet it's the one that probably has the most uphill battle because of the TV show, where it's like, no, Grant Gustin is this generation's Flash. He has, like, 5 seasons plus of adventures. How are you going to condense all of that into one movie and have it be satisfying?
How can you top the Flash show, which, for all intents and purposes, is pretty damn good? Like, from time to time, it's pretty bad, but yeah, it's pretty damn good.
I mean, taken as a whole, like, you're not going to hit it out of the park every time, but just for sheer volume of stories and just, like, again, Grant Gustin proving a lot of people wrong and getting a lot of people to fall in love with the dude, they got their work cut out for them is all I'm saying.
Yeah, and they should have just hired him. I know they couldn't because of scheduling and how it all works, but yeah, still.
And also just the weird state that the DC cinematic universe, or lack thereof, is, where it's like, we're just making movies, and if they connect, they'll connect, we'll see.
Yeah, like Joker.
Like Joker.
You can only see it if you're an intellectual Joel.
Oh, naturally. See, I should have put this down, Matt. They had a new Joker trailer, but I was so sick of talking about it in the discourse around it, I didn't even put it on the list for news. But fuck it, let's talk about Joker.
They've literally just remade King of Comedy, but like Robert De Niro is just wearing, like, makeup now, and Robert De Niro is even in this film.
I know, it's a little King of Comedy, it's a little Taxi Driver, it's a little Falling Down with Michael Douglas, to which, again, I'm calling it Falling Clown now, and I don't care if anyone laughs at that.
And the clown falls down in this film as well.
He falls down a bunch. Again, I don't care if you don't get that reference, if you've never seen that movie, that's the funniest thing I have ever said, may ever say. And please give me head pats for it. I'm very proud of Falling Clown. Falling Down is a crazy move. It's Joel Schumacher, interestingly enough, the Batman guy. Michael Douglas playing, like, a really pissed off baby boomer. Like, things are different now and I'm angry. And, like, I'll mess up an Asian dude's shop, but also, like, I'll kill a white supremacist later on. It's a very confused movie morally.
Yeah, and people, as I said, like, surrounding this, like, because people seem to be praising Joker's, like, message, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of wrong. You shouldn't be, like I said, they're romanticizing, like, mental health and all that sort of stuff, as well as, like, this message that like violence is a good answer for the masses and stuff like that. I'm like, don't do that. This is how people shoot up cinemas.
I know. Like again, it's not fair because we haven't seen the movie yet, but even still, just judging from the trailer, I'm like, this movie looks like it's loaded with confused messages that will resonate with all the wrong people.
Yeah, which is really strange when you see like all the people that have seen the film already at like film festivals and stuff, like,
which is weird in and of itself that they toured this around to film festivals. What was the last superhero movie that got toured around film festivals?
It's not a superhero movie, as Mark Maron said. No. It's for grown people and mature people, you know. Right. That's the type of words you want to hear when describing Joker as a movie.
Yeah, naturally. You know, the silly man in the clown who does the crime. Well, I'm sure you saw it. It was like the mock-up poster where it's, you know, it's Joaquin Phoenix doing this thing, and then the headline says Joker, imagine clown, but instead of jokes, does crime.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I do imagine that. Man, I sure hope Joker says his patented catchphrase, society.
Yeah, we live in a society.
We live in a society. That's a George Costanza bit, who is a joker in and of himself and a pathetic man. We're living in a society, Jerry. God, I can't believe that's coming out soon. At least I have an excuse to not see it right away, because I will actually be away at London Comic Con when that's going on, and I'm not going to go to a movie theater while I'm at a con.
Yeah, it's a strange film, because for like in interviews they've said like it's not based on anything. It's just like.
That's clear.
And it's like, well, then why did you make a Joker film? Like, just make a sad like Joaquin Phoenix movie, you know?
You know what I think this? I think it's a combination of superhero movies make a ton of money right now. As we saw from Suicide Squad, you make more in merchandising, although I don't know if this movie has merchandising. It doesn't seem like it. And also the fact, too, is that I think DC saw Logan, and they're like, well, what's our Logan? What's our thing we can do that, like, it's a superhero thing, but it's a prestige picture?
Yeah.
Which, for all the people who love Logan, as you should, Logan's a great movie, but here's the thing. Logan doesn't work or is nearly as impactful if you didn't have all those other X-Men movies before it. Mm-hmm. Because that's part of what makes it work so well. But hey, you know, Matt and I will talk about that when we see it. Because I will see it. I don't know if I'm going to see it opening weekend, but I will probably see it. And again, the early reviews are mostly positive. They're confusing reviews, but they're positive.
That's the thing. That's what I said. They're all using like big pretentious words to describe this film. It's like, just say if it's good or bad. Stop getting pretentious with the Joker film.
Yeah, it's a movie about a fucking clown who does crimes. Man, I can't wait for that Hot Cheetos movie.
Oh, that'll be great.
No, that actually is a real movie, but apparently it's an actual real story about like the janitor who worked at Frito-Lay's who came up with Flamin' Hot Cheetos, but who got completely fucked over on all the money for it. Mm-hmm. So yes, that will also be a real important movie, the Hot Cheetos movie. I like Hot Takis more. Actually, we just got Takis in Canada just recently.
Nice. We don't have Takis here.
They're hard on the teeth, but you know they're good.
Mm-hmm.
They're good. They're good if you're drinking something too, because you know you get that nice salt balance.
Yeah.
What else do we got here? Ooh, a story that I'm sure Matt and I will enjoy. Star Wars themed Coke bottles are now getting banned from airports all over the world because, again, in an X-ray scanner, they look like a grenade.
Yeah, they look like bombs.
They literally look, which is a shame because I totally wanted to take one back with me. That's totally a souvenir I wanted. Oops.
Yeah, that sucks. But what are you gonna do? I'm sure Disney will like buy the TSA or something and allow them through or something.
Man, I think at that point, things will finally get better only when Disney owns the TSA. Okay, now show your magic band when going through security. Now, did you book your trip on the app?
Yeah, you don't have enough Disney bucks, so now I've got to stick my finger up your asshole.
Ooh, sorry. You really should have gotten a travel plan with that. Sorry. You know, I put out the call last week, Matt, where it's like, hey, if we know anyone at the Disney parks, if we have any fans out there, please let me know. One guy did actually write me back and let me know. So the comic multiverse, we have eyes and ears everywhere, and we have at least one eyes and ears somewhere in California. So thank you, dude. Again, a trip to California is even more expensive for me than a trip to Florida would be, but it's nice to know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what else we got going on here? Oh, Moon Knight. Moon Knight's the new hotness right now, Matt, ahead of his show.
Yep.
It's nice, too, when people ask me, like, well, what should I read about Moon Knight? I'm like, well, good for you, because actually they've consistently been coming out with really good Moon Knight stories the last couple years. Almost like they were priming the pump for this.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to, like, starting a new Moon Knight series, since I wanted to get on board with that, the most recent one that came out.
Bemis, yeah.
Yeah, but I never got the chance to, so maybe this will be a good starting position.
I have the whole Bemis collection. I've read it halfway through twice for video projects, but then always got stopped up on stuff, forgot what happened, and had to go back. It was good, what I read of it, but yeah, you got the Bemis run from just recently. I know there was a single issue there that got a lot of people really interested that went into Mark Spector's youth, growing up in Hebrew school and everything. I'm like, oh, that's a nice touch, because people forget he's a Jewish character, actually. There was the Warren Ellis stuff that was out before. Those were like one and done issues where there was like barely any dialogue, and they were actually also really well done.
Yeah.
And then Jeff Lemire had a big long run too as well.
Yeah, his run was really great.
Yeah, there's this, the new Moon Knight run, CB Cegluski has said is going to be starting in September, and that they're going to be taking the character into some bold new directions, which honestly, I don't know what that means, because all his other runs have been really bold and really weird and really out there.
Yeah, what could they do with him?
It literally feels like in trying to make him a bigger character, they have done everything I can think of. They gave him a kid at the end of the Bemis run. I wonder if they're going to remember that.
I say send him into space and introduce shit like Egyptian gods are aliens and this is all do stuff like that. Make him go crazy in space.
I mean, we've already introduced that the Egyptian gods that he knows are really more extra-dimensional beings, a la the Asgardians, so I mean, that's not much of a stretch. But yeah, Cosmic Moon Knight, let's think of a reason to shoot Mark Spector into space. No, I'm on the moon! You can't kill me when I'm on the moon! It's the source of my power! So yeah, it's just him running around on the moon.
Yeah, him controlling the moon, smashing it into other planets and everything, and...
Him fighting whalers, them whalers on the moon, they carry a harpoon. Oh, that's what you could call it, Moon Knight Whaler on the moon. He runs into the Inhumans on that spot on the moon where everyone can breathe. Oh no, wait, all the Inhumans are dead. Well, by December they could be back, who knows?
Yeah, well, they're still alive because they were in Doctor Strange, but I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? But yeah, everyone keep your eyes open for the new Moon Knight series coming in December. Again, we don't know what it's about. We don't know who's writing it. We just know it's coming in December. And lastly here, Donny Cates and Mark Bagley, ahead of the conclusion of Absolute Carnage, have already announced what their next Venom project is going to be. Some people seem to be confused and thought this was going to be a next event, but really it's just the next story arc in Venom. But it's going to be called Venom Island, which is obviously a clear reference to the old Spider Island story.
Yeah, all the Venoms and stuff are going to be on an island. And it's going to be run by like an old man who's cloned them all, and he's like, it's like Venom World, and they're going to break free.
And Marlon Brando's going to come out.
Yeah.
He's going to be like, pay me more money for this.
And I'm going to cover myself in sunscreen and have a little midget with me.
Which I'm fine for all of that. Again, Donny Cates has been doing great work on Venom, and I have no idea what Venom Island is supposed to be, but alright, cool, sign me up.
Yeah.
I actually really like your premise, actually, because we've basically brought back every symbiote under the sun, so yeah, let's throw them all on an island and have them fight.
Yeah, it's like Survivor, but with, like, more violence.
Yeah, last one standing. We got too many symbiotes, too many suits. Last one standing gets to win. Let's whittle these down here.
Yeah.
We don't need Riot and Agony
and Scream.
Sleep or... Scream apparently is sticking around, actually.
No.
Scream is getting another miniseries after this miniseries is done.
Oh, jeez.
Well, they're seeking to imply that Scream is going to be taking over the body of Andy, Flash Thompson's old sidekick, because she lost her suit, and she's going to be the new heroic Scream.
Okay.
To where it's like, yeah, all right, fair enough.
Yeah.
I can deal. And, yeah, I guess with that, that's all the news there was this week, everyone. There was not much to talk about.
No, there wasn't at all. But there is lots of comics to talk about.
Too many. I barely scratched this. How many videos did I make this week? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So I still have like 9 left after all of this.
I've got so many left. Some big ones as well. Like I've barely reached all of the other ones.
It's crazy. Where would you like to start, Matt? Because like I said, I read these in weird, bizarre order for me.
Yeah, let's start with some of the bigger books, which I'm trying to remember what were the bigger books. Let's start with House of X issue 3.
Yeah, of course. Another issue that didn't jump around in time at all. This was a very straightforward story of Cyclops and his team going on what might be a suicide mission to defeat the Mother Mold.
Yeah, they got to go fly to Orchis that's around the sun at the World Forge and just blow it up, release it into the sun, basically.
Which I like. That's the humans' idea when Omega asked them, yeah, hey, why are you building this giant thinking AI genocide machine? Aren't you afraid it's going to turn on you? No. That's why we built it in the sun. If we think it's turning on us, we're going to drop it into the sun.
And then it'll take control of the sun, and Moon Knight will have to fight it with the moon. And
oh, shit, he pilots it like a Megazord. Look, Moon Knight, only your mastery over the moon can help us. It's just my name. I can't actually control the moon. Now you can. But yeah, that's basically what it was. And, it's the X-Men using the knowledge that Moira McTaggart had been able to give them from the now, I guess, defunct timeline, but maybe not, alternate future.
Yeah, it maybe an alternate future that can still happen, which I imagine is going to still happen. Like Nimrod's still somehow going to come back, and it's going to be like an inevitable thing that happens.
Right. It's all very, very Terminator. This is the X-Men trying to stop Judgment Day. Judgment Day is Nimrod. If the Orchis is allowed to build the Mother Mold, eventually technology will advance so much to the point that they will build Nimrod.
Yes, and they got to stop him. What was really cool was that I love, like, ever since we've seen him in that first issue, I've loved how, like, kind of sinister Xavier has been. Like just seeing him in panels, like, oh, there's something not right about him. And it was even more prevalent in that scene where he's talking with Scott, where he's like, "No, you're not gonna die, Scott. It's all good." And then Eric's like, "It's like, people are gonna remember people who die and stuff like that." And it's so strange and so weird.
Very. There's definitely something sinister going on there. He's not who he says he is. Yeah. He's not all who he claims to be.
Yeah.
A fan actually brought up an interesting point, and they said, I'm having a hard time getting behind the mutants now because they're all acting like supremacists. And I'm like, are they? They're literally trying to blow up a genocide machine that's being built in space to kill them. And then they're like, yeah, but it's like they don't even care about humans anymore. And I'm like, have you seen the dark future? We don't make it, the rest of humanity. Or if we don't make it, we sell out our humanity to the machines just to live a little bit longer so we can flip off the mutants a little longer.
Yeah.
Really, the only thing that's changed about the X-Men is that they only care about saving themselves now, which arguably is what they should always have been trying to do.
Yeah, they got their own country now and their own rules, and they've kind of sped up the process a little bit.
Their own law, even.
Yeah. As evidence when Emma Frost comes to get Sabretooth, and she's like, we got diplomatic immunity.
I love how she comes strolling in like a freaking pimp there with her giant gold X chain she's wearing.
Yeah, she was just missing like the cane and the pimp walk.
Yeah, she's like, I woke up like this. Now get in the car, Sabretooth. Don't make me go upside your head again.
Yeah, I'm alive now. Remember when I died? And I was in
vaguely.
like Scott's mind, and Scott was in my mind, and Scott wasn't real.
Whatever.
That was shit in like X-Men versus Inhumans. It was so stupid.
X-Men is weird. Oh yeah, remember when she ever so briefly had the stupid Cyclops inspired costume for like a page, then that never came back.
Yeah.
And then she took over the Hellfire Club and was like, I'm the Black King now. And she's like, yeah, now I'm the White Queen again. I just changed it. She's having a real identity crisis, Emma Frost, isn't she? Every writer's got a new pitch, but they don't know what's up. But yeah, it's a fun story.
Yeah, they attack the Orchis, and Erasmus blows up like their Blackbird and possibly kills them all. And I said this in my review. It's like kind of obvious they wouldn't have died. Like Kurt would have gotten them out or something. But like, I wouldn't put it past Big Dick Hitman to be like no, they fucking died.
They killed them, but we can clone them again from the, like, pod people tanks.
Yeah.
Let's explain how that works.
Yeah, and that's, like, a sinister, like, caveat to them. It's like, oh, they always die, but, like, we just keep making them.
We keep bringing them back over and over again. That would be an interesting one. It would also be interesting to be like, look, Moira, yeah, you gave them information they weren't supposed to have, but you ended up creating a butterfly effect where now the Orchis guys suicide bombed themselves.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, for every action, there is an equal reaction.
And that leads to, like, Nimrod coming sooner or something.
Again, straight up Terminator. No, you only delayed the Judgment Day is inevitable. Now vote for me for governor. Now that's a twist. Nimrod comes back, but he just wants to run for governor of California.
He knows that's where he can do the most damage.
And they're like, look, man, he's got good ideas. Let's vote for him. But yeah, that was a big one. And then over at DC, the other big one was, of course, Batman Superman #1 from Joshua Williamson, which came out this year.
Yeah, and this is basically like a continuation of the original Loeb McGuinness run from the early 2000s. It felt exactly like that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Also, too, even for all the big buildup of like, oh, all these other heroes have been infected, all the other characters who laugh, it's not really about that. It's just really about Batman and Superman clowning around and really getting to kind of take a walk inside their heads. And they do this great thing I love that you can really only do in comics, where characters say one thing, but their internal monologue says something else.
Yeah, it's so cool. It's so great. And it's, again, like, all that sort of dialogue and stuff is, like, stuff that happened in that Loeb series, like, constantly. Yep. So, like, to see it happen again, I'm like, oh, that's really cool. Joshua Williamson gets these characters.
He does, and it's fun and it's funny. My favorite bit is when Superman comes to the realization that Batman was always a better actor than him, and he's like, yeah, I never got cast in the school play in Smallville. Ma always said, well, we can't be super at everything now, can we?
That's good.
And I'm like, yeah, it's true, because even like Clark Kent, his alter ego isn't much of an acting stretch for him. It's just him being a version of himself, where meanwhile, Bruce Wayne is like the role of a lifetime.
Yeah, he's constantly acting unlike Batman.
Yeah, it's the damnedest thing. Also, too, this was David Marquez making his big DC debut, too, as an artist.
Yeah, the book looks brilliant. The book looks so good. I actually ended up buying 2 issues of it to get that connecting cover. I'm gonna frame it up.
Nice. My favorite bit is how Marquez does motion, how we see how Batman and Superman work their way across the city. Batman, of course, being very deliberate and trying very hard with his grappling hook, while Superman just very seamlessly, hey, fine.
I like that, like, Superman is like being nice to Bruce. He's just like slowly flying next to him, so Bruce isn't like left far behind him.
That's the best part, too. It's like, oh, and you know Superman is, like, barely trying, but Batman is doing everything he can to keep up with him.
Yeah. I thought that was good. We got the cool thing where, like, Batman is constantly testing Superman to see if he's infected, because the whole story is they've got to try and find a missing child whose brother who witnessed the kidnapping saw someone who they claimed was Superman, who was laughing. And so Batman assumes it was like a Superman who laughs, kind of like someone who's been infected by the Batman who laughs. And we find out who that is at the end of this book.
Yes, which was a fun little twist. I dig, too, we actually get to see the Batman Who Laughs Batcave in Gotham, which we didn't get to see much in the previous series, but we did know it existed.
Yeah, it's very, like, Hellraiser-esque.
Yeah, totally. Everything has this blood red tint to it.
Yeah.
And Superman saying, you know, your cave is always like a good representation of where your head is at, Bruce. So I think this tells us where this guy's head is at.
Yeah, and we find like that he's got more Robins, and he's been using nth metal infected with the serum to make batarangs that like infect people.
It's always about the nth metal. It always comes back to the damn nth metal, doesn't it?
Goddamn nth metal, dark metal. Yeah, he's been infecting people, and one of the people he infected was Billy Batson.
Or a multiversal version of Billy Batson. They were very unclear.
Yes, they are very unclear about it. I have to think it is a multiversal one, like it's maybe one from his world.
Yeah, because he already had like the filed teeth and everything.
Yeah, and he changes, and yeah, he's the Shazam who laughs, who who's going to take down Superman and Batman.
And he's magical, so, you know, he's got something that Superman is weak against. I did like that before he transformed, the kid even said, you know, I was so good and pure, what was even the point of inverting me? And it's like, oh, well, if he's this evil when he's inverted, imagine when he actually corrupts someone who has some darkness in them.
Yeah, that's going to be really freaky. And we actually... It's really funny how they've done this whole Secret Six thing, where they've revealed who all of them are. There's like Donna Troy, Gordon, Blue Beetle, Supergirl, Shazam Who Laughs, Hawkman. They've revealed it all, so they've kind of like taken that like
mystery away.
And I guess that's probably wasn't the point of the story. Like it's not a mystery. It's just these two heroes just sort of going on an adventure.
Yeah. Yeah, like even so, like I said, this first issue wasn't even really about that at all. It was just about Batman and Superman palling around and hanging out.
Yeah, and it was fantastic.
Yeah, I'm down for it. Good on them. I'm excited to see where this book goes.
Yeah, and it means another Batman book where Batman's not written like a fucking idiot.
Yeah, it's nice to read a book where Batman is actually capable of holding a friendship with a human being.
Yeah, forming words out of his mouth.
Yeah, and not being some sort of weird, stunted man-child.
Yeah.
What else do we have this week? Oh, we had Absolute Carnage #2. We had a lot of tie-ins for this, too. But we had the main book. Have you read this one yet?
I have read this one. I've decided I'm only going to read, like, the mainline book. Because, like, I read some of, like, the like, tie-ins, like the Deadpool one. And I'm like, I don't need to really read these.
No, it's not, but it's funny. This whole issue seemed to exist solely to remind you to go pick up tie-ins.
yeah, it did. Like, we get Spider-Man and Venom escape from Carnage, Osborn, and Carnage, and then it just cuts to like read all these other books that we have on offer, please.
Literally, both the heroes and the villains both stop and say you should probably go read these tie-ins. Spider-Man even says, "Look, I'm gonna go leave and drum up some tie-ins."
yeah. You go drum up tie-ins of your own, and I will meet back here in 2 issues.
I'm gonna go recruit some heroes who don't have books right now, so it'll be really easy for them to come and hang out with us. And you know, if they're actually connected to the original Maximum Carnage storyline, that would probably help.
Yeah. Venom goes off to deal with Maker and his son, which we'll see in Venom. Venom's probably the only book I'll read, mainly because I know it will actually be tied directly into it.
Because it's Donny Cates writing both, so naturally.
Yeah, and then we get like Carnage, and what was interesting is that Norman Osborn is obviously like an unpredictable element to the story because he seems to want the Codex for himself, and Carnage is like kind of allowing it as well.
Yeah, he's his Starscream, and much like Megatron, he's letting this clearly unreliable person hang out. What's great, too, is that Norman also still thinks he's Cletus Kasady right now, and his Carnage suit looks exactly like Cletus's old suit when he first appeared.
Yeah, and Carnage isn't too happy about that. He's like, it amuses me that you dress up like this.
In fact, it was confusing at first, where I'm like, wait, who's the real Carnage?
It was. You could kind of tell by the circle thing on the head.
The circle thing, and also he's got like weird shoulder things that only the Grendel suit has.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was basically the long and short of the issue, really. And then as it ends, they're like, hey, go read the Miles book if you're interested in these things.
Go read the Miles book if you want to see Scorpion and Miles team up, but then Miles like becoming a Carnage soldier.
Which is kind of interesting because Miles has never had a symbiote suit before.
They make reference to that. It's like that's why they weren't really focused on Miles. Well, they were focused on Mac because he had the Carnage at one point, or he had a symbiote at one point.
Yeah, I hadn't read it yet either, but oh god, where's my brain going now? Come back, brain. Where I had a point to make. Where'd my point go? And it's fucking gone.
It'll come back later and just randomly say something when it doesn't even make sense in the conversation.
Oh, okay, now I remember. Oh, something that I'm sure they won't mention, but something I wish they would mention is the fact that in the Ultimate Universe, Miles' mother was killed by the Ultimate Venom symbiote.
Yeah, I don't think they'll mention that.
That's a shame.
They might, though. They could use that. I don't know. But
that feels like something I doubt too, even though Solid and Amid has been gesturing in the direction of the Ultimate Universe and shit that happened. You and I had the same idea too when it's like, Scorpion is running away from the fight. Venom grabs him and throws him back into the fight, only to have the Codex and his spine
immediately ripped out by Norman.
Yeah, and Venom's just like, oh, why did I not see that coming? Oh, I'm bad at this. Why did I throw back the very thing he wanted? Shit, I hope I don't keep doing this. Oh, they mentioned his wife, too, in an interesting way, saying that she might very well have passed her codex down as her time as Lady Venom to Dylan the Kid, who I've been saying since issue 1. Well, not issue 1, because he didn't show up then, but when he showed up, I kept saying he's going to be really important.
Yeah, he will be. I reckon he'll end up being the last piece that they need to get, and it's all like the hero is protecting Dylan, and then that's probably where he's gonna Venom's probably end up gonna, or Eddie's probably sacrifice himself, and that's when he'll tell Dylan he's his father.
Right. Well, I keep thinking he's going to be like symbiote Jesus or something, because they keep implying that Annie only got pregnant after the suit was on her.
Yeah, that's true.
Like friggin' symbiote immaculate conception. Also, too, the maker, he's kind of like ignoring the subject when he's like, oh yeah, her body, I don't think it was there. I don't think she had a codex. I'm like, or she didn't die and she just wasn't where she's supposed to be.
Yeah, she's probably still alive somewhere.
That was my theory, the way he kind of dances around that point. I'm like, she's alive, isn't she? Yeah. She's going to show up at some point.
Before hearing that, I had a thing where it's like, oh, Carnage is has taken the body and is gonna use it to like fuck with Eddie, right. like reanimate it or something, something really fucked up,
something crazy.
Yeah,
because he would do that.
Yeah, he totally would.
Carnage's internal monologue is funny here too, because I think some people write him like a dumb redneck, but Donny Cates is like, no, he just loves being evil.
Yeah, I like I actually titled my video this. I like how he calls himself the Gore Emperor of 1,000 Dead Stars.
Yeah,
that's so cool.
The red right hand of the Black Kid.
Yeah.
And it's just like, wow, this dude just loves being evil. Because sometimes when you read Carnage, he's just like saying super edgelord shit.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But here he's just like, nah, I love being evil. This is the most evil I've ever been.
Yeah, this is the most important I've ever been.
Yeah, well, since the original Maximum Carnage. I've got god powers. I'm threatening the whole world. Alright, but yeah, so that was Absolute Carnage. It was fine, but again, it mostly just existed to tell you to go read tie-ins.
Yeah.
What else did you want to talk about?
We actually had the big Marvel Comics issue 1000.
See, I didn't read this because I had so much other shit, and I kept looking at it. I'm like, okay, every story is one page. This will not work on my channel. Please tell me all about it.
It was cool. It was really good. That all the stories were really cool. They kind of cheated when they said there's 80 creative teams. Well, technically there is. A good half of those creative teams is just Al Ewing.
But he's so talented.
Yeah, he is the lead writer on this book, because all his stories actually connect in this. And they sort of set up the Eternity Mask and stuff with the Mask Raider. Well, the Eternity Mask, for people who don't know, is a mask that is made from the substance of the being Eternity. And it allows the users to have the same power equal to what they are fighting. So they'll always be equal. And it's about the mask and all its different uses, from right at the beginning of Marvel history to current times, where a new person has picked up the mask and become the new Masked Raider. And we don't know who it is, but
I saw that at the end.
Yeah, but apparently we're going to learn who that is in 2020.
Right, we'll see about that. We'll see if this is the next big character they're trying to launch.
Yeah, but all the stories were really cool. My favorite were probably the Chip Zdarsky Iron Man one, which had no dialogue and just had all the different armors turning into the armors, and then Tony Stark sort of turning into nothing, kind of like how he is in the comics at the moment. Where I
did read that one, yeah.
Yeah, and the Hulk one was really cool by Alex Ross, where the Hulk just eats a interviewee's microphone when he's trying to answer questions and stuff. Yeah, it was
like the Hulk would.
It was really cool, but it was also missing. People said it's probably going to be an issue, because they're doing an issue 1001 as well.
Are they really?
Yeah, apparently for all the creators they missed, and it just feels like a quickly added on sort of thing, because they missed in this they missed writers that should have been in there, Brian Michael Bendis wasn't in there at all.
But he works for the Enemy now.
That's what I said to my reviews. Is that because he works at DC now, or they just couldn't get him because of scheduling, or he wanted too much money, or
Brian Michael Bendis is dead to us. everything he wrote is dead to us. Well, except for the things that make money.
Yeah, but no, it was a really cool book. Each story takes place 1 year in the Marvel Universe, from its first issue back in the 40s to like current year.
Yeah, it's definitely something I will give a look to at some point.
Yeah, you don't need to like rush out and view it. No, so yeah.
Did you hear the bit too? The collection actually came under a little bit of scrutiny there because apparently Mark Waid had written like a Captain America essay for the book that they ended up taking out.
Oh, really? He did do a Captain America part for this, which was actually really cool as well.
Apparently there was supposed to be an essay in there that was like a little critical of the current socio-political climate in America right now, and they got rid of it because they thought it was too controversial, which makes me laugh when they did this so close to taking that Mouse Guy's work out of something.
Yeah.
To where it's like, geez, Marvel, you're sending a pretty shitty message across the board right now. What am I to think?
Yeah.
All right, I guess moving on from that, we had Batman Curse of White Knight #2.
I literally put this review up before we started this, but yeah,
I noticed
was really cool.
This is the one that really turns up the heat. I was unsure about the first White Knight. This one made me like it because the actual like underlying meta text is starting to take form.
It is starting to take form very well. But yeah, we get a story of like more of this Edmund Wayne character from the past and his relation to like Gotham and like how he came to Gotham thanks to an order of the Saint Dumas, bringing him over and kind of teaching him how to be not Batman,
but totally Batman. I like someone in the comments section said, wait, Edmund fights with a whip, rich guy, dead fan. Is he just Zorro? And I'm like, oh my god, he is Zorro.
Yeah, I think that is exactly what Sean Murphy is going for.
Because again, if there was no Zorro, there would be no Batman.
Yeah, that's exactly. And he even kind of looks like Zorro with like that little mustache and everything.
He even looks like Zorro. And I'm like, all right, that's pretty fucking cool. But yeah, so Baca takes him and trains him. But as with any deal with the church, you should have read the fine print. And that is, look, we'll help you reclaim your family lands from Lafayette Arkham. But once you do that, we get half.
Yeah, we get half. And you got to swear your fealty to God.
Man, classic church thing there. It's like, look, God works in mysterious ways. God is also always broke, so give us half of this land.
God always needs real estate.
Yeah, oh man, church, the biggest landowners in the world. I do love that. And then like that story is further reflected in the modern era when we see Ruth, no last name given, the representative of the Gotham's ruling elite, the super rich 1%ers, who's like, so Bruce, you wanna reveal that you're Batman, but it's just not good for us in our bottom line right now, because if there's no Batman, there's no Batman relief fund that we continue to drain endlessly for, well, so can you not do that?
Yeah, I like that he's being like warped and blackmailed into something like Batman would fight, and he's being forced to become a villain, basically, and continue and forced to continue being Batman. It's like something he never wanted Batman to be, but like it's like grown out of control, basically.
It is funny to see that this is more Bruce Wayne fighting against Batman, and the idea being like, look, you don't care, you'll happily reveal your identity, but you didn't really think it through, though. Like, you will go to jail, and your company will be seized, and your assets, and all those people are going to lose their jobs. And that's not even to talk about Dick and Barbara and everyone else who could potentially be outed just for knowing you.
Yeah, all these people that, like, may have helped you, but may not have helped you will just be arrested and charged just because they associated with you.
Which, again, very adult take to talk about that sort of thing, where it's like, yeah, how does a superhero get out of the life even when they want to?
Yeah, the answer is they can't.
Yeah, not easily, and this has a blowback, too, when the Joker basically ends up outing Barbara after her father tries to make a play for running for Gotham Mayor.
Yeah, kind of fucking up his plans. So, yeah, that was really interesting, and I imagine next issue we're going to get, like, Dick's identity revealed. And then Batman will probably be forced to reveal his identity.
Yeah, it's very interesting. My favorite thing too is that he's barely in the book, but what they do with Azrael is pretty great. Where it's like, okay, so if the original White Knight was all about exposing the corruption of the ruling class, of the 1% and everything, what do you do, or what do those 1%ers do, and what lengths do they go to try and hold on to their power once people know they exist? And the answer is, oh, they fund and arm a group of dangerous religious fundamentalists is what they do.
Yeah, they get in bed with the church.
To literally have them carry their guns to battle, and like Azrael Sin is like, this is a holy crusade, we have been sent by God to baptize the streets in blood. And we're just like, that's great, but are you gonna deal with my problem? Are you gonna kill Batman and become the new Batman that we can own and control? Yeah, sure, whatever, lady. Cleaning his gun.
I stood by with you, like, that they've actually made Azrael an interesting character. Like he's much more interesting than he was in like the original Nightfall, and what he's like become within the DC universe. Like making him this like Nam vet who's like got terminal cancer and is being manipulated by like the elite because he's like a religious zealot is really cool. It's so cool. It's better than brainwashed man.
Yeah, with knife fingers. You're right. You know what it is? It's that, you know, when Azrael first came out, they were just way too in love with him. It's like, oh, isn't he fucking cool with his knife hands? Isn't he badass? This makes him a better, more interesting character by being like, no, he's not cool at all. He's a stooge with a death wish and a mental problem.
Yeah, and he doesn't realize he's a stooge, and he thinks he's doing good.
Yeah, and again, this is one of those moments, too, where it's like, I bet they're going to eventually turn on the elite at some point.
That's what I think. Because him and Batman's stories are kind of like parallel, where they're both being used by the elite, and I think they're going to realize that, and Batman's going to end up teaming with him and to fight Ruth and probably Joker and whoever else is going to pop up in the story.
Well, the thing, too, is we don't even know what the Joker wants right now. He just wants to dismantle everything Napier built because he really hates Napier. You gotta wonder what happens when Joker finds out, no, the Arkham family actually had, like, a role to play in all this, and clearly you are a descendant of the Arkham family.
Oh, yeah. And also, what's he gonna do when he finds out Harleen's pregnant?
Oh, yeah, that's gonna be a hell of a thing, too. That was a nice twist.
And I like that, like, Batman didn't even realize, and she's like, oh, world's greatest detective, you are.
Sorry, lady problems are gross. Is what Batman said. Girls are yucky. Then he throws his smoke bomb down and disappears. That's a side of Batman you didn't know exists. Yeah, I see why you had no time to take a wife, huh, Batman? I see why Damian doesn't exist in this universe.
Yeah.
Also, too, you gotta wonder, are we gonna actually see Jason pop up at any point in this, too? Because, obviously, that was another thread left hanging.
Yeah, I have a feeling that maybe they'll somehow work him into actually being part of the elite or something, maybe.
Right.
Like funding them or something. I don't know. But
I changed my name and made a bunch of money.
I really hope that they eventually start talking about the world outside of Gotham, like in this universe, because he's done a good job of like keeping it like contained within that, so we don't know whether like other heroes exist or stuff like that.
You would think they would have a problem with it too. They're like, Bruce, the second you reveal your identity, that's going to have a ripple effect to the rest of us, so also please don't.
Yeah, exactly. And like, are they in bed with the elite? Like, it'd be cool to see like a corrupt like Superman and Wonder Woman, very like Homelander and Queen Maeve sort of thing, where they're like in it for like the product placements and stuff like that. And
God, I gotta watch The Boys. But yeah, I wonder what is the White Knight universe version of Superman, if he exists at all. What does he even look like?
Yeah. What are all these? What is the Flash like? What is Wonder Woman like? Aquaman? All these people.
In a world where all the jokes and realistic things we put on superheroes actually do exist. Yeah, you gotta wonder. But yeah, White Knight is good and actually only gets better.
It does.
And I'm glad, too, to find out that Sean Gordon Murphy was totally lying when he said, oh, yeah, the second part of this is going to be a little bit less political, a little less topical. Aha. No, it wasn't. You had to read a little more into it, but it's definitely there for those who want it. And I want it. All right, what else did you have, Matt?
I had Superman issue 14.
Okay, tell me about this, because I didn't read it and I didn't want to read it, but I have heard rumblings of the bullshit.
Yeah, get fucking ready. So yeah, picks up where last issue left off, where Superman, we get to see a bit more of like the future, quote unquote, which is really a couple of days from when this book takes place, where Superman wants to set up that whole United Planets thing. We find out why Jor-El took them to the ruins of Krypton, and that is because Rogol Zaar followed them, and Rogol Zaar obviously is in the company of General Zod. So Zod saw the ruins of Krypton and got like majorly triggered, so he ended up like attacking Rogol Zaar, because that was like part of his plan, part of Jor-El's plan.
Jesus.
Yeah, because Zod will do what Superman can't, and that is kill Rogol Zaar.
Zod, who's been nothing but stupid up until now, allying himself with a person who hates Kryptonians and says, I'm going to kill all the Kryptonians.
Yeah, so they end up fighting, and then they end up, the ship ends up blowing up, and they all sort of start getting infected by the kryptonite dust and everything. So Superman goes against his father's orders and saves Zod, and then that's where we get like the most inexplicable bullshit thing where like it's revealed Rogol Zaar is Kryptonian. It's just fucking out of nowhere.
What?
Yeah. And the page is even like set out where like someone says like, oh, he could have been talking to Zod. I'm like, oh, they could have been, but the way it's like worded, it's like he's talking to Rogol Zaar. So like, yeah, Superman goes out and saves Zod, and as he's coming back, he like turns to Zod and goes, "You are Kryptonian," and like, it's just apparently he's Kryptonian now.
How? Well, I don't even fucking care. You waited this long to tell me, and now the actual reveal is very underwhelming.
Well, it doesn't make any sense either, because we learned through like the Supergirl book and the Superman book that Rogol's race was like
predating Krypton.
And like the
he's older than Krypton.
The Kryptonians like subjugated his race, and he's the last of them. What? This is the side that he's getting ready to jump ship over to Legion.
I was gonna say, don't fucking tell me time travel is involved in his origin somehow.
Oh, he's like a future Superman or something.
Make it stop. Just make it stop. It's
not over yet, but the Thanagarians arrive at the ruins of Krypton and arrest everyone. They take
the Thanagarians, who the level of their power continues to go up and down depending on what book you're reading.
Yeah, they take him to Thanagar Prime, which is now a bustling metropolis, even though it's not in other books. And yeah, they arrest Jor-El, but before Superman can get any answer of why he's being charged, the Khund attack. And the fucking dialogue in this part, like the Khund attack, and Superman's like, "Look, the Khund are attacking." That's literally the actual dialogue, and I'm like, "Yes, Superman, I can see."
I have eyes.
And they just like, the Khund are attacking. They end up just standing around with the Thanagarians, just saying, "We need to stop. The galaxy is tearing itself apart. We need to do something about it." And John's just like, "Let's have a timeout." And everyone's like, "That's a fucking amazing idea. Let's set up the United Planets." That's literally it.
Yes, small
and
child.
then they call all the races in and try and set it up, and then the Legion of Superheroes appear and say like, "This is the beginning of like our era. This is how it all begins." And it's like, "We want you to join our Legion." And it's like, "Not you, Superman, your son."
Because reasons.
Yeah, and then that's where the issue ends.
Amazing. Sounds like I missed absolutely nothing.
Oh my god,
wow.
It's beginning to feel, and I'll talk about it when I talk about action. But it's beginning to feel like Bendis is losing interest in the because he's just like, I don't give a fuck anymore. Like I'm writing the Legion now. I'm going over here now. I'm like, I would not be surprised by this time next year we have a new writer for Superman.
Which he always does.
Yeah.
He did it at Marvel, and he's doing it now. I write 6 books like a month. But I only have so much interest now as I get older, and you can tell when I stop giving a shit about one project and concentrate on my shiny new project. Like, remember when Infamous Iron Man was really great, but all of his other books went to shit because he was clearly just concentrating on the one?
And then it just petered out at the end because that was obviously when he got, like, the Superman deal.
Yeah, bored now, Superman deal, leaving.
Yeah. So this book is just awful. Absolutely awful. That Legion book actually starts this coming week. So I imagine that first issue of the Legion will probably be pretty good, but then after that he'll get bored and want to move on to something else.
You're not gonna fool me this time, Bendis. You're not gonna get me this time.
Yeah, it's just
because joke's on you. I never cared about the Legion.
It's just so inexplicable that like someone would let this go to print. Like the dialogue as well is just awful. Is absolutely awful.
Again, he probably wrote it 6 months ago. It's like, I'll get back to this. I wonder if he Marvel methods it. I wonder if he like writes the basic outline of it and then has the artist just draw around it.
It kind of feels like that. Maybe that's why fucking we had that Lightning Lad thing happen.
Potentially. Yeah, that ruined everything and why it all had to be pushed back.
Yeah, it's like you pushed it back. You couldn't fix up all this other stuff. Well, you did it.
Nope.
No.
And then we're also just gonna bold-facedly lie and say it was a year of the villain's cover problem.
Yeah. And then, almost immediately have it revealed that it was actually something else.
Yeah, guys, that's not how you lie. You pick a lie and you stick with the lie. You don't make up a new lie. Jeez, do we need to take you back to lie school? It
was shocking. It was. I'll talk about Action Comics as well. This was shocking as well.
Please do.
And not just in the writing, in the art as well. The art was absolutely terrible for a fucking flagship like Superman book.
I breezed through it. Yeah, no, it did not look good.
It's awful art. So it was interesting because Leone, this character who we've learned is obviously the leader of the Invisible Mafia, and is a very kind of competent character in that like she's very careful about what she does and everything, with like, I can't say certain words because Superman might be listening and I'm eating the lead line tub.
Right.
She just like reveals herself to Clark. She just like comes to the Daily Planet because she's the owner, and it's like, hey,
I saw that.
Hey Perry, I'm the owner. Even though they met they like know each other in the Jimmy Olsen book, they're like good friends and that. Yeah, I'm the owner. Like, what do you want from me? And again, the Bendis dialogue, like Perry keeps asking her questions and she keeps dodging them, and it's like, what's with all his new characters like dodging questions? This is just him not having answers and him not wanting to have the right answers.
You know what it is? It reminds me of like those early seasons of Lost when they hadn't hammered out all the characters yet, and so everyone was just really, really, really like defensive and just like, let's change the subject.
That's exactly what it's like here, because she asked like, what will it take to get like the Leviathan story? What will it take to break it? And he's like, money, and stay the fuck out of my way. So she's like, yeah, cool, we'll do that, but like, you won't tell anyone about me, but I want to meet Clark Kent, and you need to get Lois Lane back. And so Superman's dealing with like Leviathan stuff. He's like fighting a monster at Star Labs, which then turns out not to be related to Event Leviathan. It was just Star Labs being dicks and like testing on like creatures from other dimensions. So he writes.
There's a lot of that.
So he writes like an expose on them, and this woman really likes it and everything. And then he visits Lois, who is in the middle of her own book. Which she just got attacked by an assassin in that book, and it's never mentioned in this book. Like, Clark's not worried about her at all. Like, he's just I asked this woman like all these questions and stuff, and we get a little bit of backstory on Leone. She's from like suicide slums, and she made like a bunch of investments, stuff like that. But that's where that book ends. The Thorn character appears and somehow knows who Mr. Strong of the Invisible Mafia is, so she attacks him, and
because that's also the side story that's been going on.
And then the book ends with Naomi arriving in Metropolis, because Bendis is bored of the Event Leviathan story and wants to tell a story with Naomi. It's like, you've got more pressing things to worry about, mate.
But I just wanted everyone to meet my new character, Naomi.
I want royalties.
I don't know why. Yeah, she's very popular now. That series was good. Yes, David F. Walker wrote most of it, but still,
that's why it was
my
good.
character. My character. And I'm just like, man, if anything, Naomi is a perfect example of why you need a co-writer on shit.
Yeah.
I'm not going to split my $30,000 an issue. You can get I don't know why this is the voice Bendis I'm giving. He doesn't even sound remotely like this. Like, all my other impressions have, like, what is it? At least embody the personality of Nothing Else. Like, hey, it's fucking Joe Quesada again. What's new, everyone? You haven't heard from me in a bit.
Yeah. Hey, I would take him writing Superman over Bendis.
Same. People forget that. Quesada as a writer.
Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah, these books are just awful. And yeah, as I said, you could tell he's getting bored.
Yep, as happens. So you're saying that if I did end up cutting these, I wouldn't feel the effect?
I don't think so. Like, because they barely touch on any other, or they don't even touch in any of these other books at all. And if they do, it's like Bendis, like, referencing something that couldn't possibly have happened at the same time as that book, like this whole Lois thing. Yeah.
And that's the real shame, because in the Tomasi Jurgens era, shit actually did cross over and was actually important, and Superman was a must-read book.
Yeah, now it's just like a
So little is must-read at the moment.
Yeah, and so little has happened in this book. He acts like lots has happened. It's like, no, it really hasn't.
I guess we can talk about something where stuff did happen a lot, and that was Spider-Man Life Story number 6, the big finale.
Tell me about this.
So it's the year 2019 now. Everything ends in the modern era.
Nice.
Peter is an old man now. He's recruited Miles to be his sidekick and heir apparent because his son Benji actually survived the fight with Morlun, but he's like crippled now. He's got like a bum leg, so he can't be Spider-Man.
Okay.
Which I like. Of all the future science and tech, we couldn't fix a bum leg.
That's the only thing science hasn't created. They cracked cancer and cured AIDS and all that, but you get a sore knee, you're stuffed. You know.
The legs, man, you know, we just got nothing to deal with the legs. His daughter is Spider-Woman. His kids shockingly have very little to do in this issue.
Okay.
I thought we'd see more of them than we did. Doctor Doom took over the world following the end of the superhero Civil War, when Captain America, Iron Man all either died or went missing.
Oh, okay then.
Meaning Spider-Man is now like the last senior superhero overseeing the next generation of super kids, Miles, Kamala, Sam, etc., etc. But today's the day they think they can finally beat Doctor Doom by going to his moon base, or his space base, and basically pulling a Star Wars and, you know, blowing up the reactor.
Oh no, they should have gotten Moon Knight. He would have known where to go.
Exactly, he would have driven the moon right into it. Yeehaw, kissed on me! But, so they go and do that, and they're like, hey, we're in space. Remember how the Venom suit took over Kraven, and we didn't finish that storyline? Oh shit, he's back! And he's all gross and horrifying Venom Kraven, because Kraven died so long ago, he's mostly just bones stretched over a symbiote.
Oh, no.
But Spider-Man's like, nah, man, I'm old. I've been practicing for this day. Sonic Punch! Yeah, I've been waiting on this one. And then the big twist, you know, Spider-Man's like, I guess I finally out octopus I got inside Miles' head.
Oh, nice. Superior Miles.
We did Superior Miles, haha. I was gonna steal your body, Peter, but you're old and busted now, so I took this. The young man, such a hard time. It's not going to bring me back or make me love you, and I know that's why you're mad. And Otto's like, fuck, you got me, that is why I'm mad. And so she like hugs him into submission, and Peter's like, wow, Aunt May, all these years later, and you're literally still saving me.
Oh, that's cool.
And she's like, think nothing about it, son. Ooh, I'm a ghost now.
I'm a Force ghost.
She's literally a Force ghost in this. There's so much Star Wars in this. And the space station's blowing up, and there's only one pod, and naturally Spider-Man goes to save Miles, and he just like kind of hangs out there like a boss. Well, it explodes, but Miles is saved, and the Earth is saved. He literally saved everybody.
Oh, that's cool.
And then Mary Jane, in the last couple moments, she's like, well, Miles, you know, you already have the name. I'm sure Peter would be, you know, happy for you to have this. So she gives him the original red and blue suit.
Oh, that's cool.
And Miles takes up the mantle. And then they do a little extra thing that is really clever. We get to see basically what is Spider-Man's ultimate reward. What's like his heaven, more or less. And it's going back to the exact moment he lets the mugger go.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The guy who would go and kill Uncle Ben, he gets to go back to that very moment, and he stops him.
Oh, and he gets to live a happy life, and that's cool. I'm going to pick this book up in trade, definitely.
It's wonderful. It's an amazing it's the best mini-series of the year so far.
Yeah,
There's like nothing that comes... It's one of the best Spider-Man stories I've ever read. It's, you know, a crowning moment for Chip Zdarsky if he doesn't win all the awards for this next year.
That sounds cool. It'd be cool if they did like a follow-up with Miles and it's like goes into the future until it reaches like 2099.
You could really do that, yeah. The one thing, like, I don't think it's the strongest issue of this series, mainly because it's modern day, so there wasn't nearly as many references or even socio-political commentary to be had. It's just kind of like, okay, let's finish the story now.
Yeah.
Which is a shame, because the previous issues had talked so much about, like, Vietnam and 9/11 and all these other big historical moments. This is like, okay, what's a big historical moment? Well, remember when Doctor Doom took over the world? No, I don't remember that, actually. And I like even like trying to make like modern day jokes like nothing fell out, where it's like, yeah, and remember when Spider-Man fought to defend that Popeyes in their new chicken sandwich? Nope, that didn't happen. Nope, I got nothing. Remember when Spider-Man went to go see the Joker movie? He thought it was all right. Modern references. Because when I'm thinking modern from 2019, I'm like, I don't know what the fuck happened this week.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was Life Story. Life Story is great.
That's cool.
Yeah, I had 2 more. What about you?
Cool. I think I had 2 more, or maybe 3. But yeah, I had Justice League issue 30.
As did I.
The big start to the Justice Doom War.
Yeah, this issue, I was surprised it kind of slows things down and gets you up to speed if you're just hopping on here.
Yeah, it's. I said in my review, it's half filler. Like half filler catch up sort of stuff and half like new story.
I hate to say that Justice League Dark was also much the same this week as well.
Yeah.
Where they're just like, all right, let's bring this down a notch. And I'm like, oh, you guys can do better, but I can understand wanting to actually let people in. Where Starman basically stops and says, all right, let me explain to you the whole series up until this point.
Yeah. We've got to get these forces away from Lex. And to do that, we'll go grab the 6 Infinity Stones through time.
Literally, that's what the 6 totality stones.
Yeah, and we'll combine them and do a new totality that'll be a Justice totality.
See, if we get all the 8 totality balls together, then we can summon the totality dragon and give us a wish.
So yeah, they got to go through time to get like the shards of the totality to fix to like sort of slide the world back into justice a little bit. And give them a fighting chance, because as we saw at the start of the comic, like the team will just get steamrolled by Lex because he's too OP. He hasn't been patched.
That's not where I thought you were going with it at first. You're like, oh, and the team needs to slide back into justice. I'm like, I thought you were like, well, they need to slide right on into justice and give her for the universe.
That's Superman's big speech. We need to slide on in.
Everyone, we need to slide on in, smoothly and consensually. That's the problem with Lex. He's sliding on in without asking. Them and the whole Legion of Doom. We can be better, everyone. What really made me laugh about this is Batman is like, oh, so every hero in the DC universe, I deputize you. Even heroes who should be mad at them right now, like Green Arrow. Like, Green Arrow should be yelling, what about that box you gave me?
Yeah, where is that box? That's got to come back at some point. That has to have been like a shard of totality at one point, I reckon.
I think the second the Green Arrow book got canceled, they're like, yeah, we're never coming back to this.
Someone should keep just like pestering Scott Snyder. It's like, what about the box? Where's the box? Maybe it was like a Tarantino thing where it's like, we just got to like imagine what was in the box.
If the box was even his idea, or if that was like editorial mandate, it's like, we need to give people a new reason to read Green Arrow. Yeah. Please make him important in Justice League.
Yeah, that kind of feels a bit like it as well.
It was the friends we made along the way. That's what was in the box.
it was Doomsday Clock issue 11.
Oh shit! Now that's some meta.
That comes out this week, unless Gary Frank decided to like redo the whole art for it again.
I don't doubt it. Like, look, until it's in my hand, it's not actually out.
So they have to go through time. They pick 2 points, one in the past and one in the future, to collect the shards of the totality to stop Lex. And Lex, of course, already knows about this plan thanks to the Starro tentacle that Brainiac has been using to spy on the Justice League with.
Freaking tentacles.
So it's like, we'll show them. We'll show them, and the team head into the future and the past, and there's like a weird hooded being that like wants to stop them, but like stop them in like a good way because they were going to cause a fatal error or something.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, we don't know who that being is, and the two teams split up into the past. The past head into like the 30s, 40s, get to meet the Justice Society.
That's fun, and they get to do that without having to explain. But wait, isn't Jay Garrick and isn't Dr. Face? Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and the future team, the Trinity, head to the far future where Doom has obviously taken over, and Kamandi and his friends are the only people left alive.
I do love that Kamandi at Earth's End. That's like, hey, this just happens to me. I'm always in a shitty future.
Yeah, and we learned that they would have succeeded except someone time traveled before them, obviously Lex. And they arrived...
They're 2 weeks late.
2 weeks too late, and everything is all fucked up, and they're stuck in the future and the past.
Simultaneously.
Yeah, so that's cool.
It is a fun setup. I'd complain, the time-traveling superhero MacGuffin hunt is a played-out premise, but Snyder is so good at it, he picks two really interesting time periods, so it works.
Yeah, and as well, the teams are really interesting as well. So it's like the Trinity go to the future and meet Kamandi, whereas like Flash and Green Arrow go to the past. Whereas I really thought it was going to be the other way around. We're going to have like Superman and Batman and all that team up with the Justice Society. So it's like a unique setup with the teams.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah, but yeah, that's really cool. We actually get issue 31 this week. Like, it comes out the week after, so that must be a pretty big issue.
I guess, yeah, it's pretty shocking. They almost never do that.
Yeah, and Doomsday Clock issue 11's coming out, so I wonder if there's a tie-in, because Snyder has said that like it all rolls back into it.
Potentially, yeah, and obviously the Justice Society is a huge part of Doomsday Clock, where it's like, wait, but I thought Dr. Manhattan messed with time, so their future never happened the way it was supposed to.
Well, maybe they traveled to a future, to a past where the Justice Society existed, or like before they were destroyed.
Man, wouldn't it be funny that Dr. Manhattan shows up in Justice League issue number 31? It's like, I am Dr. Manhattan, then Perpetual comes in and just like friggin' breaks his neck.
They get into a parking lot brawl.
Oh, that's
She's taking off her earrings and getting ready to fucking fight him.
The Flash, oh, he's sleeping. Hit him so hard he sleep. Man, did you see that video that's making the rounds? There's two guys getting into a fight in what is clearly a subway. And the little guy there who just hits the taller guy in just the right space. And like his legs turn to jelly under him and the tall guy just falls right down.
Yeah.
What's beautiful about that video is that the guy then gets back in line to get his sandwich. Because he wasn't not going to get his sandwich.
His chicken
and I respect
sandwich,
that. Yeah, I mean, I would do it. Look, I'm not leaving with that look. If I gotta punch every person in here, I'm not leaving without my sandwich. God, I love fight videos with outcomes you don't expect, usually when the littler guy beats up the bigger aggressor.
Yeah.
Those always feel good. Just like this Justice League story feels good.
It does.
You can put that on the trade there, Scott Snyder. Justice League Doom War feels as good as punching a man over a chicken sandwich. Cape Joel of CapeJoel.com says. I really want that. I really want like a trade paperback to take one of the stupider things I've said.
That is what I would do. Like if I was to like do a comic in that trade, I'd be like, okay, get like some of the like Celia reviews and put them on the cover.
Absolutely. This comic made me a man, which is interesting because I am currently a woman. Yep, that one's going on the cover. You better believe it. This one made me crave salty snacks. Boom, cover.
This one gave me diabetes.
Boom, also cover. I don't know how that's possible, but put it on the cover. So yeah, I had one more, and that was Avengers 23.
Well, I haven't read this one yet.
Ghost Riders, lots and lots of Ghost Riders.
Yeah, I figured that would be following on from last issue.
Yeah, also Avengers Mountain. I keep wanting to call it Avengers Mansion, even though it isn't. Avengers Mountain is haunted, and they try and basically bust the ghosts that are in the mountain.
That's cool. I did see that panel where like Damon Hellstrom is like, "Oh, does your mountain usually weep blood? Because that's happening."
Mm-hmm. Yep, the super powerful ghost has possessed the entire mountain, and it's actually up to Boy Thing to stop it.
Okay.
Because all things burn, dead or alive, that feel the touch of Man Thing.
Okay, cool.
And it's ultimately revealed that the ghost haunting everything is Cosmic Ghost Rider.
Oh, yes.
And he's like, look, I'm not leaving till I kill all the Avengers. And they're like, okay.
Oh, God damn it, Frank.
Yeah, goddamn Frank. Which they don't know that yet. They're just starting to put that together. Like, wait, Frank? What? What? Our Frank? No, weird future Frank. It's a whole thing. And meanwhile, in hell, Johnny Storm and Robbie are having a ghost race, and Johnny gives us the whole history of the ghost races. They say it was the Stone Age Ghost Rider who raced Odin the Allfather in the first ghost race.
Yeah, and he won the pink slip of death, and...
He's literally telling the story, and Robbie's like, I don't care. I want to get rid of the car and the power. I don't want it anymore. and that like pisses Johnny off. He's like, motherfucker, I'm king of hell. You know what I would give for your powers right now to be able to keep all this shit in line? And eventually he starts being a dick, but you can tell that he's like purposely trying to prod him to get him to want to be Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
Where he's like, look, if you don't race me, I'll take the soul of your little handicapped brother. To which Robbie's like, oh, fuck you, we're on, deal. And then as they're driving around, Johnny's like, oh, maybe you're more Ghost Rider than you think. You just made a deal with the devil. Because that's me. I'm the devil. And then, like, we see all the other Ghost Riders cheering Robbie on, and it's, like, every version of it that you know.
Okay.
Including, like, the 1930s Tommy gun one from Secret Wars. I like
nice.
that guy.
Oh, that's cool.
He's a fun guy. And that's basically the issue.
Cool.
Yeah, it's fun. Not much to write home about. It was
cool. I had two left, and they were both like kind of indie books.
Interesting.
First one's Tommy Gun Wizards.
Oh, that looked cool. Speaking of Tommy Guns.
Yeah. Tommy Gun Wizards is cool. It's the Untouchables, but instead of Al Capone running booze, he's running magic.
Sold.
And yeah, it's 1930s Chicago, and it's in the grip of the Prohibition, but it's a prohibition on magic. And the speakeasies serve lick, which is like an addictive magic, which can give people kind of like anything what they want. Like if they want strength, it'll give them like an extra hit with their punch, and if it can make them like susceptible, like to influence people and stuff like that. And of course, Elliot Ness and his Untouchables ain't having any of that shit. So they're like busting all these like speakeasies that Al Capone is running. Al Capone obviously is being heralded as just a legitimate businessman who's just looking after the everyman and all that sort of stuff. Of course, Elliot Ness sees through all that shit and is like, nah, he's a wizard, man. He's a wizard.
You're a wizard, Al Capone.
Yeah.
If I reviewed the thing, that would be my title. You're a wizard, Al Capone.
So the story picks up a little bit after they've been like doing this and everything, and they end up busting like a speakeasy where some guy tries to kill them with like flame magic. They bust that guy, and they take him to the cells when they try and figure out where all the liquor's coming from, and we know it's coming from this guy in like a white suit who we don't know exactly who he is, but he is like a magician. The guy that they busted before ends up vomiting up like this vomit creature that like that's like kind of acts like a herald for this guy, and like warns Ness that something is coming, sort of thing. We learn that Al Capone has been like disguising himself as like a reporter who's been sort of like a supporter of Al Capone, like because we see the reporter earlier on in the story, and he's like, Al Capone is a really good man. I like him. He doesn't hit puppies or anything, and we learn that reporter is actually Al Capone using magic as a disguise.
That's not too far removed from actual history too, because Al Capone loved the press and vice versa.
So and he's been doing that, and he like accuses the Untouchables of being like liquor users as well. Like, oh, they use it to like catch the people and everything. And there might be some truth to that story, because the book ends with like them finding out that the liquor is being supplied through the churches in Chicago. Since there's so many churches, it's easy to get it out. And we learned that Ness might be using lick to like get an upper hand. Like he might be a lick user. It's very sort of gray if he actually is, or it actually is just like wanting to stop this stuff. And then the book ends with like this weird like space adventure where I think it's either like a backstory, or it could actually be tied into this, where there's like some weird like toad creatures that like power an alien city, and they like get released from slavery, and it might be tied in or it might not be.
That all sounds very much like my jam. Either way,
it's such a fucking cool book.
There's been a lot of really good indie books out. What is it? The guy who wrote Going to the Chapel. The same guy who did Spencer and Locke. He actually sent me a copy this week, and I really want to cover it.
He sent me one as well, and that was the next book I wanted to talk about, actually.
Oh, shit. Let's okay, I breezed through this one, and I'm like, yo, this looks totally like my jam, but yeah, let's talk about it. If I didn't have 17 books this week, I'd read it.
I've got an exclusive look coming up on my channel. Actually, the review for this book will be up when you see this video.
Hey.
But it was a really fun book. It's very Tarantino-esque, sort of 3,000 Miles to Graceland sort of style, where
great reference,
where this woman is looking to get married. She's like the daughter of like an influential businessman, and these robbers called the Bad Elvis Gang, because they all wear like Elvis masks, decide to rob her wedding because she's got like wealthy family and everything, and she's wearing a $250 million necklace. So they want to...
David Paposi is the guy.
Yes, Spencer and Locke as well is a really great book.
It's basically, hey, what if, Calvin and Hobbes were like gritty noir detectives, so, naturally I'm all about that.
Yes, but this book is really good. I'm not going to spoil the end, because there's like a kind of a big spoiler with like one of the thieves' pasts, which is really cool to see. But yeah, it's a really cool, fun first issue. I'm intrigued to see the second issue, because that first issue, the end of it really hooked me. And yeah, it was a great, violent book.
Yay for indie comics.
Yeah.
We don't get to talk about them near as much because it's the superhero books that pay our bills. But, there's been a lot of really good ones. Zdarsky had White Trees a couple weeks ago, and now we got these.
Knights Temporal is a good one. It's had its second issue this week. I haven't managed to read it yet. But yeah, that looks really cool.
I saw that, yeah. Yeah, you gave a strong, endorsement for that last week. So yeah, is that the show this week, Matt? Is that everything we got to cover?
That is everything.
That's everything. All right, so thank you everyone so much for watching and listening. We hope you enjoyed it. As always, if you're a patron, you'll get to listen to this first before anyone else. For as little as $1 a month, you get the audio version, and for $5 a month, you get the video version. We usually try and get that up as soon as possible after we record on Sunday. I actually redid a bunch of my Patreon tiers just recently, so be sure to get a good look at that. Maybe you want to up it if you're existing. Maybe if you want to try it for the first time, I'm going to try and put out some exclusive commentaries just for that. So definitely check that one out. I will be attending the London Comic-Con at the beginning of October. I think that's the 4th to the 6th. That's official now. I'm a guest. I will have a panel on Saturday and probably be hosting a Q&A on the Sunday. Just wanted to get that one out now.
Nice.
I
was just said nice.
Oh, I thought you had more to add. That's nice, and also fuck you. Keto Crate. Obviously, we still have the link down in the description. Get some awesome keto food, lose some weight, get some yummy treats there while you're at it, and support the show. It's a good deal. I'll be sure to link all that down in the description. Do you have anything to say, Matt?
I'll actually be at Oz Comic Con this coming September, at the end of September, on the 21st and 22nd. Really looking forward to that. I got my media accreditation the other week, so looking forward to covering that. Lots of really cool stars going as well, so I'm hoping I've put my name down for some interviews, so hopefully they get like signed off in time.
I always put those down and I never got anything from. But then again, I think I always aimed a little too high too. I'm like, hey, can I interview Mike Tyson? Like, Mike Tyson didn't show up. And I'm like, to which I'm like, oh, that's sad. But then I'm like, oh, Mike Tyson is just roaming the streets of Toronto. Someone better stop him.
Hide your ears.
Yeah, really, a roaming Mike Tyson. Hey, can I talk to Justin Roiland? Oh, yeah, Roiland's late and he has a panel now. And I'm like, oh, I got to catch my train, so I guess I'm just not doing that. That's a little dirty secret about panels and media accreditation. I mean, you can put your name down, but there's no promise you're actually going to get to talk to any of these people.
Yeah.
But yeah, so all right, everyone. Thank you so much for watching and listening. We hope you enjoyed the show, and Matt and I will be back again next week. Maybe there'll be a little bit more news. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
I was this close to saying, let's do a commentary. You know what? I should have a panel over on the Patreon page for people for movies they want to see us do.
Vote for Dark Phoenix, because that comes out.
I haven't seen it yet, and I'm not gonna fucking.
That's why I
want
you to watch it. I want you to like be like us do the commentary with you watching it for the first time, because it's an awful film.
You're a cruel, cruel man, Matt. I guess we should do something Joker related. I'd say let's do Killing Joke, the animated movie. Yeah, but I don't want to watch that again.
No.
I'm trying to think what else is Joker related that we could do.
We just like compile a list of like cringy YouTube jokers.
Oh god,
there is a lot of them.
That'll be a while. You know what actually wasn't a cringy Joker thing? A very short-lived, I think his name was Scott McClure. He was like an actor, director thing. He had a web series called The Joker Blogs, and the idea is that, you know, these were like session tapes from Arkham Asylum, and it was basically just an excuse for him to be like, hey, I do a pretty good Heath Ledger.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
They weren't bad. They were actually like, okay, this is kind of fun. Like, he was clearly a comic fan because he would weave in a ton of different references and a bunch of different names in the stories he told and things he said. It was very much like benched in the world of Nolan, but like unlike Nolan, this guy clearly had references and shit to make.
Okay, cool.
That was fun. I don't know if those are even still up or anything.
Yeah, interesting.
I'm sure that guy looks at the new success of Jokers and shit, and he's like, damn.
I was years early.
Years. Actually, hey, for that Suicide Squad movie, when they were talking about Joker and they put it to that song, I started a joke, started the whole world laughing. He did that like 5 years before.
Maybe
he said a whole thing to it. Yeah,
they copied him.
I would feel a little ripped off to, you know, make such a specific music choice, but who the fuck am I kidding? They probably just put clown, laugh, joke, song, and just grabbed the first one. Like that new movie, Send in the Clowns. And I'm like, don't do that. You just make me think of Krusty the Clown. When he does that bit. All right, I'm rambling now. Thanks, everyone. Show's done. It's over. Get out of here. We're done. Go.
Get out of here. Why are you still here?
Get out of here. But come back next week, same time. I'm kicking you out, but only kind of kicking you out. All right, everyone. We'll talk to you later then. Bye-bye.